Yo, welcome back to my channel, and in this tutorial we're going to be going over how to make HTTP requests, and that's going to allow you to make API calls and all sorts of things. Now if you don't know what I'm talking about, or if you're like, what the heck did he just say, don't worry, it's really cool. I'll show you some examples of it right here, but it's really cool and it'll take your games to the next level, and I just learned it today, so I wanted to share it with y'all. So here, let me show you what it does real quick. So basically, an API allows you to connect one software, so my software, this game, to another piece of existing software out there. So some people have written other, web apps and different kinds of things that do different things, and you can make those apps talk to each other with API calls, and which they are HTTP requests is what they're called. So let me show you what it looks like. So you got a character here, and each one of these things are, each one of the blue titles are HTTP requests that I've set up. Now we can go to this first one here, which is random cat facts. So this is going to connect you to an API that will spit off random cat facts. So watch this. Wow. Okay, that was a fucked up fact. You can press next. A cat's vision is about 185 degrees. You can keep on pressing next, and I have it set up in this widget so that you can keep on getting cat facts all day long. So that's just one example here. Here's another example here, like random jokes. Like, what if you wanted to hear some random jokes? So the same thing. How do you organize an outer space party? You plan it. Duh. You can get getting jokes all day. You know what I'm saying? So that's another thing APIs can do for you. Let me show you another thing that they can do. So, where are we at? Random dog pictures. So not only words, but you can do pictures. So I've got this widget showing just random dog pictures, and when you click next, it's going to just show you another dog picture just continuously. Just going to keep on going. So let's see another example here. I got a whole room of these set up, and I want to show you guys how to do some of these. This one says, how old do I think you are? So it says type in a name. Let's type in Jesus. 57. Another example that I've got here is a random ideas for boredom, right? Are you bored? Maybe you can start a book you've never gotten around to reading, and it tells you how many people it's going to take to do that idea. And you can get ideas all day long, and it'll tell you, bored ideas. Another one that I set up that was really cool was I tried to combine two of them, and I did Kanye quotes with random pictures of pandas in the background. I am the head of Adidas. I will bring Adidas and Puma back together, and bring me and Jay back together. Yeah, yay. I'll show you that one last, but this one right here is ask me a yes or no question. So, and again, these are all separate APIs. These are all separate HTTP requests. So if I ask a yes or no question like, is Quinn channel cool? It's gonna give me an answer. Is Quinn cool? Nope. I'm guessing not cool, guys. It's all good. I'm not trying to be cool. Anyways, another thing you could do is like this. So Dolly, right? Forget Dolly. I got my own Dolly. So the text to image generation right here. So I can say what I want to see. Like, how about classical picture of a knight saving a princess from a dragon. Bow. I press enter, and as you see in the middle of my screen, it's loading right there. So it's going to give me an image of what I just typed in. Boom. So it's just like Dolly. I've got my own Dolly right here. So today I wanted to show you guys how I set up most of these, and I kind of want to give you a really good understanding of these things called API calls and HTTP requests. So let's get going. The first thing that you'll need to do is go to your Unreal Engine marketplace, right? Go to the marketplace and search for HTTP request for blueprints. Once you have that, you want to download it because it's free. Make sure you get this one by this dude right here, King Way Mark. That sounds like that's a cool. He sounds like a boss. Anyways, install it to your engine that you're using, and then you're gonna have to restart the project that you have. You can start a blank project or whatever, or a third-person project or whatever kind of project you want to start. Just start that project, and then you're gonna be caught up to where I am. And what I want to show you here is I will make a new API call right here live, and then we'll dive into some of these other complex examples. We'll do a simple one first and then dive into some of these complex ones. So, alright, so first things first, I want something to happen when I first open, or when this level first opens. So at the beginning of the level, I would do it in the level blueprint. And I would do it on the event begin play. Now don't mind the stuff that I already have here. All I have on my event begin play right now on my level blueprint is get player controller, set input mode to game only, and then set show mouse cursor to false. Those are like the default things I always put on every level that I do, because I mean, unless it's like you want the widget to pop up first. So we'll probably change that here anyways. Alright, so now that you've got that HTTP blueprint thing, what we need to do is we need to figure out how to use it. Now, when I had to learn how to use it, I was looking for a video on YouTube, and nobody had a video on YouTube. And so I guess I'm going to make a video on YouTube about it. Or I couldn't find it, at least. Not a short one. Alright, so all you have to do is to make an HTTP request. There's a node called make a HTTP request. Cool. Once you find that node, let's talk about it before we move on. So this node is literally all you will need. Once you understand this node, you have the keys unlocked to you. So first things first, the execution pin. So we can start this, at the event begin player right after it. And same thing with this one. Now the method. This is important. Now most of the API calls you'll do, they have documentation with them, and they tell you how to do what you need to do. And most of the time the documentation will have a method. One of these right here is going to be a get, a post, a put, one of these right here. But most of the time it's only going to be a get, post, put, or delete. I've never seen any of the other ones. So a get means you're trying to get information from that other software. Put means that you're putting information to that software, or you're sending information to that software. Post means like you're posting information to that software, sort of like Dolly. I mean, yeah, and sort of like Facebook, you post to your wall. And then delete is just going to delete information from the software you're talking to. So get is the most simplest one that I've learned right now. So it's probably the most common one you're going to be using as well. So now that you understand the methods, those are the 4 different methods. This is for the URL, and every API call has what they call an endpoint. And what you do is you type your endpoint, or you copy and paste the endpoint URL right here. And that's going to tell our software which software to get connected to. Now, sometimes they'll have parameters, and you'd have to make parameters. Sometimes they'll have headers, and you'll have to make headers. The body is for when you're sending information. So when you do a put, you would have to fill out something in the body. Or a post, I'm sorry. Well, no, put and post, you would have to fill out something in the body because you're sending information. But again, we'll talk about the get first. So after you've got the information sent, which in a get, you don't even need the body. There is no body in a get. There's an on complete. And what you have to do from here is create a custom event. And we're going to tell what happens after this call is created, or after it's completed. So I'm still maybe talking like jibber jabber for y'all, but I'm going to make it clear. Watch. There's a website that allows you to practice with APIs. And if you just go to this website right here, It's epiphany.io. It has a list of free APIs that you can play with. So I say we play with one right now. Why not? Okay, let's start with one that I did already called Cat Facts. And this is pretty simple. So basically it's saying that you can get a random cat fact via text message every day. But it doesn't have to be text message. We can just set this up so that it just gives us random cat facts, as you saw in the as I showed you in the example. So basically, this is the URL right here that is going to take us to, that we need. Copy that, paste it so you can see what it looks like. There you go. Alright, so you copy this right here and paste it into a new browser, and this is what it looks like. So this is all the information that we need. So what is this telling us? Right here we have the URL that we're going to use, and remember that we'll plug the URL into the URL, and then right here it shows us the structure of the things that we're going to need. So this is all, anything that's written in quotes, it means it's a string, right? So this is all a string. This length is a string, but the number return right here is not a string, it's a number. It's not written in quotes. So, right, what we need to do is take this information and plug it into that node. So that's what we're going to do right now. So the first things first is that URL. Let's go ahead and get that same URL, which is right here at the top, catfact.ninja/fact. Copy that and paste that. And we want to do a get because we're trying to get this fact from this cat fact thing. So we're going to keep that get method as get. Now, for the parameters and the headers, if we go back and look at the cat thing, there are no parameters and there are no headers. We can certainly use, we can alter this around and make it have some parameters if we wanted to, but literally doesn't need any. In that case, with this node, all you have to do is drag off your parameters and say make map, right? And it's going to give you a key and a value. When you do have to use parameters, you're going to have to fill out the key and the value. But in this case, we don't need that. So we can delete them, or we can remove, right click and remove key value pair. This is going to give us an empty map. And we need the map to be empty, or we need something there in order to go forward. So for me, I'm just going to keep it empty. I'm going to copy and paste that. And I'm going to also put my headers as an empty map. So nothing there. Alright. Since this is a get and it's not a put, or we're not like posting anything, then we don't need a body. But here's the cool part. What we do need is on complete. So every time on complete, just drag off of it and create a custom event. This is every single time. The custom event is called the response or the callback. Like basically, when we get this information from this URL, it's going to give us a response. And from here, we can tell this response what to do. Now, here's how you handle most of the API calls that you'll be doing. The response will come back in a form called JSON, pretty much, or you want it in JSON. So from your response, drag off and say to JSON. It's right there at the top, to JSON. Hook up the response string. And now you've got your response and it's in JSON format, which we can do a lot with that format. Now that we have this part set up, what we need to do next is we need to go back and look at this. So we're looking at this on the website, so we typed this into the web browser and it gave us this. We see that it says fact. This pretty much colon means equals. So fact equals cats can predict earthquakes, blah, 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 blah. So basically we want to know the fact. And then there's another one called length, which we don't really need the length. So we'll just say we want the fact. And the way that you get this fact is you have to get a string, because you see that it's in quotation marks. So this is how we'll do that. From your toJSON node, drag off and say get string. I told you this was way simpler than you think. Plug the JSON to JSON, right? And for the string, it's asking us for a key. Well, what part of the string in that response do we want? And this is where you'll get this right here. This is the key. Fact. That's that's what we want. We want the fact. So that will be our key. So fact. Boom. Just type it in as it is. You can copy and paste it as well. But now that you have that string there, the response is going to come back to as a JSON, and we're going to get from that JSON the fact out of that. Now we need to do something with the fact. And because I'm on my the level blueprint, we can, like, let's create a widget, right? Let's create a widget to display this fact. So after get string, type create widget, and then we can add it to the viewport. But we don't have a widget yet, so let's create one real quick. So in your content browser, right click, user interface, widget blueprint, user widget, and we can call it cats underscore WB. So make sure that this is now pointing at your cats. Perfect. All right, and let's go to our cats. Let's actually open that widget up that we just made. Now we got to really quickly create a widget. So I'm not going to spend too much time explaining this, but I'm just going to do it as quickly as I know how to. Get a canvas panel, right click it, wrap it with a scale box, wrap it with a size box, turn your size box to, you know, whatever resolution you want to. I'm going to use 1080, 1920 by 1080. Then on your canvas panel, we need to put, you could put a background picture if you want to. So you just get an image and drag it there, put it on the whole screen, and then zero it out. 0, 0, 0, 0. And then change the image to whatever color you want the background to be. So I want mine to be black. Boom. And then we want the cat fact to go there. So let's put a text block. And usually for my text block, I always try to size it, you know, as a good size. And then there's a button down here called auto wrap. That's what you really want to click for this. It's right here, wrapping auto wrap text. Click that. Make sure your text block is in the middle of your screen with the anchor. Bow. All right, cool. So now we've created this widget, and now we have something to do. So in our third person map, in our level blueprint, after we've created this widget, we can actually move this to the top here. So hold Alt to break this link, and we're going to move the create widget and add to viewport up here. And that's fine. But after this print string, what we need to do is we need to cast to our third person character, because there we need to set some variables. So the variables that we need to set is fact. We need to make a fact variable. So go to your third person character, or whatever character you're using, go to the event graph, and create a variable called fact. I'm just trying to make sure I don't have one already. All right, and then that variable, make it into a string. Compile and save. Now, the only reason why we did that is because we need to store this value in somewhere that we can recall it. And I figure the player character is pretty easy for that. So, from your get string, let's cast it a third person character. And, you know, get player character. Oops, I can't spell. Anyways, get player character. And then we're going to set fact right here. So what are we going to set the fact to? We're going to set it to this string here. Boom. And now when we make that HTTP request, the fact will be set to the string that comes from the JSON that comes from the response. So with that set fact, let's go ahead and create this on this widget. Let's go ahead and make it a little bit better. So our text block, right now it says text block, and we can change that here. But instead of changing it, let's just bind it. So create a binding. Drag off this, and we're going to say third person character. So cast your third person character and get player character. And then what we want to do is we want to get that string that we just made, which was called fact. So get fact and plug it right on into the return node, just like that. So basically, this text block should return back a cat fact for us. So let's make sure that it's correct there by checking this. It's set as a fact. Boom, boom. Okay. Now we need to hook this up to the beginning. So let's hook it up to right after I set the mouse cursor. Actually, I don't even want this right here. Let's take that off. Let's take that off and just hook it up to begin play. Add begin play. And then on the end, I'm going to get player controller. And then I'm going to set the input mode to UI only. And which UI? I'm going to do it to this UI. And then I'm going to set the mouse cursor. Show mouse cursor to true. So when it begins plays, it's going to show this widget. But what's going to be on the widget is this response here. So let's compile and save. And when we press play, it should have a cat fact in white text on a black background. So let's check that out. Play. Cat families usually play best, even in numbers. Cats and kittens should be acquired in pairs whenever possible. Perfect. So that's how you make an API call. It's very simple. But I'm not going to leave you hanging there. I mean, in mine, there's a way that you can press next and get another cat fact. So let's go ahead and set that up real quick. So I'm going to save all because this is Unreal Engine 5 and they have a little bug. But anyways, the way we're going to set up this cat fact thing, let's open up our level blueprint. And let's look at that widget that we just created. So this one. Let's put a button called next here. So make a button, put it in the bottom right corner or wherever you want it, and just put some text on it that says like next or new fact or something like that. Alright, so when the player clicks that button, we need a new fact to pop up on that screen. The way we're going to do that is press on pressed or on clicked, whatever one is your preference. And here's what we gotta do. So on clicked, we need it to make another HTTP request. So what I would do is go back to your level blueprint, pretty much copy this and this. Just copy the first, part of this. So your HTTP requests, your parameters, your make map for your headers, response, and the JSON. And that'll be a good starting point. Copy and paste that. And we'll hook that up. So when they press that button, we want it to make another HTTP request to this URL. Cool. And pretty much it's going to give us a response. That's good. We're going to turn that response into JSON. We're going to get a string, and remember the string that we want is fact. Cool. Now that we got that string, we need to set, same thing, it's the exact same thing. We just want to set it just like we did here. Set the fact for the third person character. So I just copy and paste. So all it's doing is casting to the third person character, getting the player character, setting fact as fact right here, hook that string in, and that will give you a new fact because it's going to do another HTTP request. You don't have to put anything after this because all we're doing is setting the variable here, which in turn will change this fact. So let's make sure that works by pressing play. When a domestic cat goes after mice, about 1 pounce and 3 results in a catch. Okay. Yep, see? You click next, 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 all the facts about the cats. So that's how you set up an HTTP request. Told you it wasn't that hard. You can do all kinds of things with this, including creating your own text-to-image software, your Dolly type software. All of the documentation is out there for you. All you have to do is look it up. But now you have the tools to use it, and you have at least a good starting point. If you have any questions, you could probably reach out to me. I'm not saying I'll have the answer, but I'll try. And I hope you learned something. Hope you enjoyed this. And to end this video, I guess what I'll do is let's unhook that node, and I want to leave you guys with a Kanye West quote. Okay, so to end this video, let's go ahead and get a Kanye quote. The Kanye quote we get is "buy property," and that's what it is. I'll holla at y'all next time. Peace.